The morning fog slowly cleared over Monterey Bay, revealing the calm, glassy water that hid a crisis about to become the most incredible rescue in Navy history. An 8-year-old girl named Iris Murphy, with her pigtails bouncing and her backpack heavy with marine biology homework, stood on the shore and whispered 3 simple words that would save 130 sailors trapped in a broken submarine deep under the dark waves. At the Emergency Command Center, a nervous crowd of Marines, Navy engineers, Coast Guard officers, and worried town officials gathered, unaware that this quiet girl held the key to solving a disaster. They didn't know Iris had spent years learning about submarines from her father, Leonard Murphy, whom everyone in their small coastal town thought was just a lab worker at the Chen Marine Research Station. But Leonard was secretly Captain Leonard Wave Murphy, a brilliant submarine engineer who had designed the very power systems now failing catastrophically below the bay. Before we dive deeper, tell us where you're reading from, and if this story grabs you, follow along, because tomorrow we've got something extra special waiting. The peaceful Tuesday morning in Monterey Bay was shattered by loud emergency sirens, echoing across Naval Submarine Base Point Coral. Iris, holding her mom's hand, walked toward the research station, her sneakers crunching on the gravel path. Dr. Laura Murphy, Iris's mom, carried her research notebook, her auburn hair catching the golden sunlight as she pointed out a pod of dolphins leaping near the harbor entrance. "Look, Iris, they're playing today," Laura said, smiling. Iris's bright green eyes followed the dolphins' graceful jumps, but her attention shifted to the naval base across the water, where something felt wrong. "Mom, look at all those boats," Iris said, tugging gently at her mom's white lab coat. "Why are there so many?" Laura squinted, noticing Coast Guard cutters, Navy rescue ships, and emergency boats moving in urgent patterns, not like a normal training drill. The calm morning was turning serious, and though Iris, at 8 years old, didn't fully grasp the danger, her sharp mind sensed trouble brewing 100 feet below the bay's surface. Deep underwater, inside the USS Nautilus, Commander Stanley Mitchell gripped the periscope stand as another power surge flickered the lights into dim emergency mode. The massive submarine, built to glide silently through the deepest ocean trenches, was now stuck in shallow water due to a massive electrical failure during what was supposed to be a simple training exercise. Sweat dripped down Mitchell's face as he steadied himself against the cold metal walls. "Sir, we've lost main power to the engines," Chief Petty Officer Gloria Campos reported, her hands moving fast over the control panel, trying to switch to backup systems. Her weathered fingers, used 2 years of fixing submarine systems, couldn't stop the alarms blaring. "Emergency batteries are holding, but ascent procedures are tied to the same power grid. If we tried to surface now, we could hit ships above or crash at a bad angle." The crew of 130 sailors, expecting a routine day, now faced a life-or-death crisis, their families waiting at home, unaware of the danger. On the surface, Captain Clarence Cooper stood in the Emergency Command Center, a temporary setup on the docks at Point Coral. At 52, Cooper had led the base for 3 years, his gray hair neat under his cap, but his face was tense as he studied screens showing the submarine's position and the rescue boats circling above. He'd never faced a crisis this big, and the thought of losing 130 sailors weighed heavily on his heart. His office, usually quiet, was now buzzing with radios and urgent voices. "Sir, Admiral Beverly Marine is on the secure line from Pacific Fleet Headquarters," Sergeant First Class Victor Reed said, handing Cooper a heavy phone link to the Pentagon. Cooper took a deep breath. "Admiral, the USS Nautilus is stuck at 90 feet with total power failure. We have 130 people on board with about 6 hours of air left." Admiral Marine's voice was sharp, like someone who'd spent 30 years making tough calls. "Captain, I'm sending deep-sea rescue ships from San Diego, but they're 8 hours away. What do you have locally?" Cooper's stomach sank. "Admiral, we have Coast Guard surface gear, medical facilities, and local marine experts, but no submarine rescue tools until San Diego's ships arrive." The gap in their resources felt like a punch, and Cooper knew time was running out. Dr. Win Silva, a kind-faced ocean expert from the research station, arrived with his team, their equipment clattering as they set up. Cooper approached him, his boots loud on the dock. "Dr. Silva, what's the ocean like for a rescue?" Silva, his face lined from years studying Monterey Bay, checked his tablet's real-time data from ocean buoys. "Captain, the surface is calm, with clear skies and light waves, perfect for boats. But underwater currents near the submarine could tangle divers or small rescue subs." Cooper nodded, his jaw tight, knowing every detail mattered. Meanwhile, Diana Foster, a sharp-eyed reporter from Channel 7 News, stood at the public viewing area, her cameraman filming the growing fleet of rescue boats. Her curly brown hair blew in the sea breeze as she spoke to the camera. This is Diana Foster at Monterey Bay, where a major Navy rescue is underway. Over 100 sailors are trapped underwater, and officials are racing to save them. Her gut told her this was no ordinary story. It was a crisis that could define her career. Back at the Submarine research station, Leonard Murphy paused over his microscope, where he was studying tiny sea creatures. The siren's wail stirred memories he buried 8 years ago, when he left the Navy for a quiet life with his family. His co-workers saw him as a shy lab worker who liked charts and data, not fieldwork. But the crisis unfolding across the bay pulled at him. Dr. Amanda Foster, a marine biologist who'd worked with Leonard for 6 years, noticed his distant stare as he watched the rescue boats through the lab's wide windows. "Leonard, that looks bad," she said, pushing her glasses up. "Think they'll need our ocean current data?" Leonard's blue eyes stayed fixed on the boats, his mind racing with technical details about submarine systems he hadn't spoken of in years. Submarines in shallow water are tricky, especially if trips to the station. Leonard's heart raced. He wanted to stay out of the spotlight, to keep his family safe from his Navy past. But the thought of 130 sailors trapped below the water pushed against his resolve to stay hidden. Iris, still unaware of the full crisis, walked with her mom toward the research station, her small hand clutching Laura's. Within hours, she would stand before a room of desperate military officials, offering a simple idea that could unlock her father's secret past and save lives. The fog was gone now, and the bay sparkled under the sun, hiding the danger below, and setting the stage for a rescue that would become legendary, sparked by an 8-year-old girl who learned submarine systems from her dad's bedtime stories tucked away with his hidden Navy medals in their attic. By 10 a.m., the research station was no longer a quiet lab, but a busy hub for the rescue effort. Military officials filled the halls, their boots echoing as they set up computers and radios, pulling ocean data from the station's buoys. Iris sat in a corner of her mom's lab, her math homework spread out on a table. But her ears caught the urgent chatter about the submarine. She doodled dolphins in her notebook, her mind half on the numbers, half on the worried voices around her. Professor Judith Parker, a 63-year-old engineering expert from Stanford, arrived in a sleek black car, gravel crunching under its tires. Her silver hair was pulled back tightly, and she carried herself with the confidence of someone who'd solved tough problems for 40 years. She spread blueprints across a lab bench, her voice sharp. "Drive. Silva, the USS Nautilus has a Mark 7 power system with multiple backups. For it to fail completely, it's either major damage or a design flaw nobody saw coming." Silva, his face serious, checked his screens. "Our data shows the submarine's hull is fine, no crashes or leaks. It's all electrical." Iris looked up from her multiplication tables, her young mind piecing together the technical talk. Her dad had explained submarine power systems during their evening walks on the beach, using simple words like "it's like a toy car with extra batteries." She spoke up softly. "Don't submarines have backup power?" Professor Parker, surprised by the small voice, turned to her. "Yes, dear, but they're not working right." Iris tilted her head, her green eyes bright. "What if the backups are connected to the broken part?" The room went quiet, the adults stunned that a child had pointed out something they'd missed. At the naval base, Master Chief John Harrison, a 30-year submarine veteran with a weathered face and steady hands, stood before a wall of blinking monitors. "Captain Cooper, the submarine's emergency systems are failing in ways they shouldn't," he said, his voice heavy. "It's like all the backups are breaking at once." Cooper, his uniform crisp despite the stress, rubbed his temple. "How does a submarine with so many safety systems fail like this?" Harrison shook his head. "In 30 years, I've never seen this. It's either sabotage or a design mistake we didn't catch." The word sabotage sent a chill through Cooper, but his focus stayed on the 130 sailors. Chief Warrant Officer Danny O'Brien rushed in with a secure phone. "Admiral Marine wants an update and any local submarine experts." Cooper's heart sank. Local experts were scarce, and time was short. Dr. Kevin Chang, a young Stanford engineer with wire-rimmed glasses, set up high-tech gear to analyze the submarine's signals. "Professor Parker, these readings don't match any known failures," he said, frustrated. "It's like the power systems are fighting each other." Parker nodded, her brow furrowed. "That would mean a huge design flaw we missed in testing." Lieutenant Colonel Susan Brooks, a Pentagon officer with 20 years of experience, strode in. her boots clicking. "Professor, Dr. Chang, could this be sabotage or a design issue?" she asked, her voice sharp. Parker hesitated. "It looks like the systems are clashing, but a clever attack could look like a malfunction." At the research station, Iris sat quietly, her homework forgotten as she followed the adults' talk. Her dad's lessons about submarine systems explained over ice cream cones on summer evenings helped her understand. When Laura checked on her, worried about the scary talk, Iris said, "I'm okay, Mom." Dad said when safety systems try to fix the same problem, they can make it worse. Dr. Silva, his gray eyebrows raised, turned to her. "Iris, your dad knows a lot about this. What does he do here?" Iris froze, knowing her dad's secret. "He fixes ocean monitoring equipment," she said carefully, repeating the story her parents taught her. Just then, Dr. Amanda Foster burst in, her lab coat flapping. "Dr. Silva, the submarine's power is draining faster. They have maybe 4 hours left." The news hit like a wave, pushing everyone to move quicker. As noon neared, the crisis grew from a local problem to a national emergency. The bay sparkled under clear skies, perfect for rescue boats, but the underwater mystery remained. Mayor Russell Hayes arrived with a convoy of local volunteers, fishermen with deep water boats, aquarium divers, and doctors ready to help. "Captain Cooper, the whole town wants to help," Hayes said, his voice strong like the coastal community he led. Cooper nodded but said, "We need special submarine knowledge we don't have here." Amparo Ramos, a 62-year-old marina worker with warm eyes, brought coffee and sandwiches for the tired rescuers. "Nobody's going hungry while our sailors are down there," she said, setting up a food station with practiced ease, her hands moving like she'd fed Navy families for decades. Petty Officer Marcus Williams emerged from the Rescue Coordination Center, his face tired. "Captain, we're trying to control the submarine remotely, but the signals aren't working. It's like the systems are cut off." Dr. Jennifer Walsh, a Navy doctor with 15 years of experience, added, "The younger sailors are getting anxious. Being trapped is wearing them down." Cooper felt the weight of every report. At the research station, Leonard stood by the lab windows, binoculars in hand, watching the boats. His heart pounded with memories of designing submarine systems, knowing he could help, but fearing the cost to his family's quiet life. "Amanda, sometimes simple fixes beat complex ones," he said, his voice low. Amanda tilted her head, curious about his knowledge but not pushing. Iris, now at the station, wanted to speak up. "Mom, I think I know why the backups aren't working," she said, her voice small but sure. Laura hesitated, her maternal instincts torn, but nodded. Iris approached Professor Parker. "Dad said when backups share the same control, they can fight and make things worse." Parker's eyes widened. "That's a smart thought, Iris. Where did your dad learn this?" Iris smiled nervously. "He reads about machines." Dr. Silva, intrigued, asked, "Can your dad talk to the rescue team?" Iris felt a mix of excitement and worry, knowing it could reveal her dad's secret. Leonard made his choice. "Laura, I have to go to the base," he told his wife, his voice steady but heavy. Laura's eyes softened with concern. "If you tell them who you are, our quiet life ends." Leonard nodded. "I know, but 130 people need to go home." Iris looked up. "Dad, will we have to move?" He knelt to her level. "I don't know, Iris, but we can't let them die." Iris insisted. "I want to come. I can explain things simply." Laura worried, but Leonard saw value in Iris's clear thinking. Dr. Silva called Cooper. "We have a researcher who knows submarine systems." Cooper, desperate, said, "Bring him now," as the Murphys drove to the base. Leonard's hands gripped the wheel, his mind racing with old Navy instincts. Diana Foster, at the media area, reported to her camera, "Military officials are struggling, and civilian experts are stepping in." The story was spreading across the country, drawing eyes to Monterey Bay. At the base's security gate, Leonard's ID triggered alarms. It showed his secret Navy past as Captain Leonard Wave Murphy. Guards escorted them not to a public area, but to the heart of the emergency command center. "Captain Murphy," Cooper said, reading Leonard's classified record on a tablet, his voice a mix of respect and urgency. "We need your help with these electrical failures." Leonard scanned the buzzing command center, screens flashing data, radios crackling. "I need to see the failure patterns and power diagnostics," he said, slipping back into his old role. He studied the screens, recognizing the Mark 7 system's weak spots he designed years ago. "Professor Parker, the backups are overloading, competing for power and causing failures," he explained, pointing at data spikes. Cooper's eyes narrowed. Was this avoidable? Leonard sighed. I warned about this during design, but my ideas were ignored to save money. Iris, standing quietly beside her dad, felt the room's tension. Dad, can you fix it? She asked, her voice soft but hopeful. I think so, Leonard said, focusing on the screens. He began guiding the submarine crew through a new plan to restart power one system at a time. Chief Campos, deep underwater, followed his instructions, her hands steady despite the fear. Backup generator 1 is on, she reported through crackling communication lines. Leonard's voice was calm. Wait 60 seconds before starting the next one to avoid conflicts. Iris watched her dad transform into a leader, his quiet lab persona gone, replaced by a confident engineer she barely recognized. Admiral Marine called Cooper. Why was an expert like Murphy unknown? Cooper replied, let's save the crew first. Media questions grew, and Laura worried their private life was slipping away. On the Nautilus, Leonard's plan worked. Backup generator 2 is stable, Commander Mitchell reported, hope in his voice. Leonard guided them carefully. Watch the power during ascent. Stop if it fluctuates. The submarine began to rise, the crew holding their breath. The USS Nautilus burst through the water in a spray of foam, its hull gleaming in the sunlight. Cooper's voice rang out. All crew accounted for. Iris pressed her face to the command center window, her eyes wide. Dad, it's huge, she gasped. 130 people are safe because you helped me explain, Leonard said, pride in his voice. Diana Foster's broadcast went live. Civilian experts saved the USS Nautilus. The story hit national news, ending the Murphys' quiet life forever. 3 days later, at Pacific Fleet headquarters, the Murphys sat in a polished conference room, facing a panel of stern Navy officials. Admiral Marine, her uniform crisp, led the meeting. Captain Murphy, your rejected safety warnings have sparked a full review of submarine design, she said, her voice firm. The Navy offers you reinstatement as a full captain to lead submarine safety. Leonard's face was calm but torn. Admiral, my family is my priority, he said. Iris, listening quietly, worried about moving. Dad, why is helping people so complicated? She asked. Leonard smiled softly. When you know a lot, people want you to keep helping. 6 months later, Leonard worked as a civilian consultant, improving submarine safety while staying in Monterey. Iris joined a junior research program, studying sea stars and sharing her submarine story with classmates. Kids can help if adults listen, she told them, her confidence growing. The Murphy story inspired scholarships and safety programs. At a ceremony, Admiral Marine gave Leonard the Navy Distinguished Civilian Service Award. Iris received a youth award, saying, kids' ideas matter. As the sun set over Monterey Bay, the Murphys knew their quiet life was gone, but their courage had saved 130 lives, proving ordinary people can be heroes when they act with heart and knowledge.